I'm so excited to be sharing my pie carrier pattern tutorial with you guys today. As you can see here, I like to use 2 different types of fabric for this, and you'll start out by cutting all of your pattern pieces. Here I'm cutting out what I call the pie carrier base in the pattern. So you'll cut a square for the inner fabric, outer fabric, and the batting. This fabric is for my recipe card. As you can see, there's an inner fabric, outer fabric, and a batting as well. You will also need 2 small pieces of fabric. I call these the loops, and I make this match the inner fabric of the pie carrier, but you can do whatever you like. And this next piece is for the strap, again matching the inner fabric. And all of the measurements for these pieces are listed at the bottom of the pattern instructions if you want to conserve paper. Okay, so now I'm taking the loops and folding them in on each other like so. Sometimes after folding, it helps to iron it down just so that it stays. But fold in both of the loop pieces and then pin it into place. And go ahead and put it off to the side for now. You can then take the piece for the strap and essentially do the same thing that you just did with the loops, fold it in on itself like so, and then you can go ahead and iron and pin it. And at this point you should have about 3 of those pieces, 1 strap and 2 loops, all looking like this. Next up, we'll start sewing those pieces. So as you can see, I'm just sewing down the long edge, but you're going to do it to both sides of the edges, and then you'll go ahead and do it to your strap as well. And when you're done, they should all look like this. Next up, take your batting for your recipe card and place the outer fabric on top. Pin it into place and then quilt it as desired. I chose to do diamonds. When you finish sewing, just cut off that excess batting so that it looks like this. Then you'll want to place the inner fabric for the recipe card face down and then again pin it into place, and we'll begin sewing along the edges. You'll sew all around the edges, just making sure to leave an opening somewhere so you can turn all the fabric right side out. So then do exactly that, turn your fabric right side out and make sure you get all the corners as well. Go to that hole that you now have in the side, and you're going to take the edges and turn them inwards, pin it into place, and then sew a top stitch around the whole thing. And this way you'll no longer have a hole in that recipe card. And here it is after sewing that top stitch. And now we'll move on to the pie carrier base. So place your outer fabric on top of the batting. You can pin it into place to keep everything super secure, and then you'll begin quilting however you'd like. Again, for this pattern, I chose diamonds. And here's the outer fabric for the pie carrier base when completed. And you can go ahead at this point and trim off all of the excess batting. Then lay out your inner fabric. I folded all of the corners in on themselves so that I could figure out where the center was. Then I pinned my recipe card into place and then sewed the recipe card to the inner fabric. You're going to sew down 3 sides, making sure to leave open the top so that you do have a pocket to place a recipe card inside. And here I'm showing you what I mean by that. Just make sure to leave an opening at the top. Okay, so now take your strap and attach it to the corners of the outer fabric. You'll attach it to opposite corners, as you can see here, and clip it to keep it all in place. Then take your 2 loops, fold it into a U shape, and just as you did with the strap, place it on opposite corners and pin it into place so nothing moves. And if yours is matching mine, take your inner fabric and place it right sides together with the outer fabric. And go ahead and clip the fabric or pin the fabric together so that nothing's moving. And we're getting so close. So now you'll just start sewing the edges so that you're sewing your inner and outer fabric of the pie carrier base together. So we're sewing around all the corners, just making sure to leave an opening somewhere so that, you guessed it, we can pull it right side out. But before you do that, I would go around and just trim off some of that excess fabric we no longer need. And then you can pull everything through that opening and make it right side out. And one last time, we'll take that opening, fold the raw edges inwards towards each other, then go ahead and pin it really well, and then sew a top stitch around the entirety of the pie carrier, and that will make sure to close in that hole. And with that, you're finished. Congratulations. This is what it should look like. I absolutely love this for the holidays. Bring your host a pie and gift them the pie carrier.